Hello again. Welcome back, everybody, to the Quick Carbon Podcast, the 12th episode, session 000012. I apologize for it being a day later than I said it was going to be, but it's here now. No new donators or new patrons since the last time, so no new names in Sparkling Lights. I will put up my 2 whole patrons in Sparkling Lights right now. They signed on before I started doing the stupid Sparkling Lights thing, but regardless, if you want to help out, support me, the podcast, and everything else I do, because I do this, I do photography, I have another channel with aviation and travel videos and the like, or if you just want to get shiny stars or sparkling lights and fireworks behind your name for a few seconds, then you can donate through PayPal, preferably, or you can sign up for a monthly thing on Patreon. Links to either of those are in the description below. Only if you're financially able to, of course. But this time, our focus is the monthly U.S. shale production data. And to no surprise, it's all falling. Well, almost all of it. As was expected, because the rig count has been dropping precipitously, as we have discussed in previous episodes. Dropping 200 rigs in the last month alone, from just under 800 to only 602 actively drilling rigs. That's a particular problem for shale because most shale production is kind of, at least in oil terms, instantaneous. It's not over a long period of time. You drill a well, you hyperjet that water down there, smash that rock apart, and you get that initial burst of oil production, and then it does not terminally decline on some gradual slope after that for each well. It just drops like not even a lead weight, drops like a uranium weight. So the only way shale fields, let alone increase production, but can hold their own level of production at the same level, is by constantly punching more holes in the ground and constantly fracking new sections at new levels of rock, which obviously requires quite a lot of rigs constantly doing that all the time. However, that is no longer the case, because now the rig count is consistently dropping. Rigs are both being stopped in the middle of operation, and rigs that complete new production wells are being held right there and not moved on to another location to start any other wells. Because, of course, oil prices are down at around $20 a barrel, because of both demand collapse from the whole current global health crisis, global oil demand having dropped from 102 million barrels a day down to, as of the end of March, only 89 million barrels a day. And, of course, the brief price war that happened between Saudi Arabia and Russia, where there was a whole bunch of guerrilla chest beating about who could survive at lower prices. And that didn't last very long, because the whole situation then arose, and they both kind of quickly realized that each of them overproducing by 1 million barrels a day, or maybe 2, kind of meant nothing next to the 13% drop in global consumption levels. But regardless, with oil prices so low, shale fields, and honestly regular oil operations can't really take that, but shale fields in particular are now just financially in lead coffins being thrown into the sea at this point. So now, with rig counts dropping so fast, shale production has stalled and has begun dropping. Individual plays, individual field numbers are as follows. The massive Permian shale in West Texas and eastern New Mexico dropped from 4.75 million barrels per day down to 4.58 million barrels per day over the course of last month. Its natural gas production, however, did still go up by a little bit, from 16.96 up to 17.08 billion cubic feet per day. The Appalachia shale, the massive natural gas shale underlying the Appalachian Mountains, obviously, hence the name, dropped from 32.8 to 32.2 billion cubic feet per day. The Haynesville natural gas shale, located on the tri-state corner border area of Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana dropped from 12.44 down to 12.09 billion cubic feet per day. Baken up in North Dakota dropping from 1.47 down to 1.39 million barrels per day in oil production, and its natural gas production dropping from 3.07 down to 3.01 billion cubic feet per day. Eagle Ford, the only one that held on, holding at 1.34 million barrels per day, the same as last month. And its natural gas production actually going up by a tiny bit, from 6.85 up to 6.95 billion cubic feet per day. The Anadarko shale, which underlies a huge portion of Oklahoma, decreased from 527,000 down to 483,000 barrels per day, and its natural gas output dropped from 7.34 down to 7.05 billion cubic feet per day. The Niobara shale at the base of the Rocky Mountains dropped from 774,000 down to 734,000 barrels per day, and its natural gas production dropped a little bit from 5.71 down to 5.64 billion cubic feet per day. And not to be forgotten, the small Barnett Shale, a natural gas shale in north central Texas, continues dropping, now under 2.9 and down to 2.84 billion cubic feet per day. But the Barnett Shale was already on its terminal decline, as it peaked back in the early 2010s, up around 6 billion cubic feet per day. So, those are the declines as seen, as stated, and later today, likely several hours after this video becomes visible, the weekly U.S. consumption and production data overall will release, and I expect to see probably the first drop down under 13 million barrels per day. In terms of consumption, I'm expecting it to still drop a little bit more, but not that much more. So we'll see what happens with that when that data comes out in a few hours. And tomorrow, the monthly OPEC production data releases. Friday, the drilling rig count updates. And hopefully sometime this week, if it's on time, the monthly global oil consumption data for each individual country will release, so we can go over that too. But that's about it for this one, so thank you everybody for sticking around and listening. Please like the episode if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to my other channel, the aviation and travel one I mentioned. There's a link to it in the description and the pinned comment. Still stuck around 820 subs, trying to get that to 1,000 so I can have a second channel monetized. And if you want to supersede YouTube and help directly yourself, then PayPal and Patreon links are there as well, obviously. Whether anyone does or not, thank you everybody anyways. And regardless what becomes of me, may God bless you all, and I will see you all around next time.